Yo, what up, world? It's your boy Elmore, the Universal Humanitarian, and we're here again talking about astrology, zodiac signs, and myths. And I'm in here with the god and the goddesses, Femi and Ra. Enjoy. I'm in the Karmic Dynasty, and we come and drop the jewels for y'all today about the 13th sign and a couple more zodiac signs. And I'm gonna let the panel introduce themselves. I introduce myself first. I'm Elmore, the Universal Humanitarian. You can reach me at Facebook at Elmore Universal Humanitarian, YouTube Elmore the Universal Humanitarian, or you can call me if you feel like talking, or you can just email me at yoshimore@gmail.com. Peace.
Peace. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I am here, Joyous Ram, in observance capacity tonight. Definitely looking forward to hearing more than what I know of the 13th sign. And definitely honored. I'm feeling the privilege of being in the presence of Fami this evening. I have my notebook and my pen ready because she got it. She got it. I need you all to definitely share the love, show the love to our guest this evening. Also, share the video, comments. We love the comments and subscribe to the platforms. We are streaming live this evening on Facebook, Joyous Rom, Facebook group Karma Did What, and we're streaming live to the YouTube channel, Karmic Dynasty, and Twitter. And I do not see Elmore destinations in here. So we're streaming live to Elmore on Facebook. I'm adding those now. We're also streaming live to Elmore, the Universal Humanitarian. And we are streaming to the Tribe Up destination on YouTube, 777999. And that belongs to the Emperor of Karmic Dynasty, Abdiel Ben Levi El. And again, everyone, welcome to Astrology Resurgence. This is Myths and Zodiacs, Part 3. Ramatef Kweb, if you would. Gratitude.
Panata Pamahat, Unquest Jed, Uncle Josh Seneb, Ubin, Nefike Panebu through Maati. Peace, everyone. Anuk Ramatef Kweb. I'm Ramatef Kweb. I'm a practitioner of divinations. You can find me on Facebook at Ramatef Kweb. You can find me on Instagram as Ramatef_Kweb. Also visit my website at maatraya.org, the DNA of DNA. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest, a great teacher and friend of mine. She's here to give the knowledge of what is known as the 13th sign. And with further ado, Femi, introduce yourself.
Unmute your mic. Gratitude. Peace.
Thank you. Yes. Hi. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in and just being interested in the 13th sign, in Ophiuchus, in the truth. It's not easy out here to dig for the astrological truth. So many, there's so much misinformation about where planets actually are and what's actually happening. And so if you're even joining us or watching the replay, you're in the right place. You're looking for the truth, right? And I'm definitely going to touch on some of those things tonight. I am on Facebook, Instagram. I guess my favorite place would be probably to just text me if you want a reading. So I think I put my number up there. And if you want to follow me on Instagram where I do post, it's raw.vegan.goddess, RAW.VEGAN dot goddess dot. So yeah, that's my Instagram. So yeah, I have been studying Ophiuchus and the 13th sign and astrology for over 20 years. So Ophiuchus is not new. I'm trying to slow down. There's so much information. All right. So Ophiuchus is not new. A lot of people think Ophiuchus is changing the zodiac. But in actuality, Ophiuchus is an original sign that was left out, that was taken out. We'll go on the reason why. But just know it's an ancient sign, okay? And it has to do with the snake and the Kundalini energy. and the electricity that's running through our bodies. The same electricity that's running through our bodies is running through the galaxy, is running through our body. So it's like our nervous system and our kundalini energy, our electricity, our life force. So when this was taken out of astrology, it's because of the power of the kundalini, the power of the soul, the power of the spirit. So I just want to say that first and foremost, it's not a new sign. And people always say, that new sign, and I always say, oh, it's not new. It's actually ancient, and they got rid of it. And so, yeah, I guess I do like interview style. So anybody want to ask some questions? If you have some questions in the chat, I guess I can look at that. And yeah, it's so much to it. I know people have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I totally relate to the 13th sign because I was born on August 13th. So I think I relate to that.
Mm.
We're going to let Rod take off.
All right. So recap real quick. So if you've been following since episode 1, it's leading up to this point. So just to give a reminder, signs are markings. Zodiacs is dealing with animals. Constellations are the drawings of lines within stars to show a picture. Now, further ado, we're going to go into the 13th sign when it comes to its dates. So most people, when you look at this display, you'll see that inside the triangle is the date that they will put for Western when it comes to dealing with those who are known as Sagittarius. Well, I'm sorry to mention, but when it comes to the actual size, because remember, the triangles is dealing with just degrees. Degrees have nothing to do with these sun signs until it's in a chart. But when it comes to this particular part, we're dealing with the sun sign. So when you're dealing with this particular one, in the comedic style, people will know her from different names. From the names that I know her by is by the name of Nepet, one of the daughters of Set. I'm not daughter, I'm sorry. One of the sisters of Set, Aset, and Asar, and her were. When you look at the dates, you'll see that this day starts on November 30th to December 18th. So those who think that they're Sagittarius, I'm sorry to tell you, you are not. And as we go further and further into the administration, we will let you know why. Because when you deal with this sign, it's something that's very mystery. There's a lot of mystery to it. And then also with its number 13 that is labeled. So as we go in, before we start, does anybody on the panel have any questions before we start diving into this marvelous sign?
I do not. I do not. Gratitude.
All right, so I'll give a breakdown real quick when it comes to dealing with this, my own history with this. So long story short, back in the early 2000s was my first time learning about this sign. I wish I can remember this book that I read because it spoke on it. And I wasn't really paying attention to it, but I was just like, oh, wow, there's a 13 sign. Years later, I found out that it's a very real thing. And then as I started doing my research, and like I was telling people, if you know my history, for 3 years straight, I watched the sun rise and sun set for 3 years straight just to see these alignments. And sure enough, that mug is right in the sky. At this particular time, it's probably somewhere in the west right now. But at the same time, when I started looking into it, I went from the story of Asar. Okay. So when you start dealing with the story of Asar, you understand that, at a point in time of his life, when his brother basically chopped him up into 14 pieces. Well, and then, one of the pieces was thrown away and things of that nature. So the stars, the Netarus that I deal with is based off of that particular story. When you start to deal with this particular sign, you're looking at opposites. So there's a story with, Pisces, what I know as Set. Then you have Aset, who's dealing with Virgo. When it comes to this whole combination of star-crossed lovers, when you get to who we know as Asar, or Osiris, what people know in the Greek terms, you would see in connection with Orion. And literally
Mm-hmm.
goes from Orion is this constellation known as Ophiuchus. When it comes to the feminine energy that deals with this particular constellation, there's no doubt it's a feminine energy, very powerful at that. And the whole region of the three goddesses dealing with Wajet, Mut, and Megabet at that. So when you start to do the storyline and you see that, the story of us, Nephet and Asar, and how she disguised herself as her sister to lay with him, and she got pregnant and gave birth to a child known as Ampu. So when you start to do these stories and you start to see how, a lot of the ways that we tell stories, it's all written in the stars. So as we go further into this, I can't really read that right now, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to it. I'll get to it soon. But at the same
We
time,
just scrolling. We just scrolling.
okay. There's a lot of
It's cool.
information.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it is. So we can sort some of it out. So yeah, y'all just tell me what it is, what part of it that y'all are curious about, because there's so much. I could go on, and I don't want to lose y'all. Like, what's the most important thing for you to know about this?
So first thing first, give people a little bit of your history, and then we'll go
Okay.
into its
Yeah, that's the
placement,
story in itself.
the stars, and how it lines up, and then what people
True.
are missing when it comes to the elliptic and things of that nature. So without further ado,
Okay.
go right ahead. Go in.
Okay, honey. Okay, so yeah, I was 19 years old. Well, actually, let me go back to saying I started learning astrology when I was 15 years old. And my mom would let me go to the library, and I just wanted to pick up like a huge stack of all the astrology books. I was just like, I would take like 10 astrology. I was just like, give me everything, astrology, astronomy, everything, everything. And I would take like huge, you know what I mean? Every time little kid just, getting 10 books, you're like, what's the limit? So I was really into esoteric studies, obviously, right? And basically, I was into Western astrology. That's all I knew, you know? But when I was 17, I started because I had already gotten all the definitions. I learned everything real quick. And I was like, sidereal. So, what is Western? So, come to find out, Western astrology is not even based on the stars. Okay, so I'm trying to go slow, y'all, because it's a lot of little tidbits. So, Western is based on them moving the calendar from the first day of spring to line up with Aries, but that's not really how it is. Okay, so then they also make 12 equal parts. So this is the more Christianized version of what happened, because there's also an Eastern, more old time version of the same situation. Either way, if you're doing Vedic or if you're doing even Egyptian, like the Osiris set, do a lot of sidereal. So sidereal means star. So I was like, what? Sidereal? Let me get on some sidereal astrology. I was not stuck to my Western sign. So many people are so freaking stuck to their Western sign, especially Black people. Y'all got to wake up, okay? Stuck to their Western sign to no end. And that's all they know, and that's all they care. And they don't want to hear the real truth, even though they can look at a sky map and see that it's not saying where they're supposed to be. Like, put two and two together. They mess with our heads, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Indigenous people especially supposed to be aware that there's another clock. There's a whole nother situation. You know what I mean? So all of that. So at 17, I was like, oh hell no, I'm not following Western. And it was just 2 years into my studies. I was still in high school and stuff. So fast forward to when I was 19, I found a book, like how Ross said. It's all kind of books that'll have like this little part of, oh, there's another sign, there's another constellation. One of my other colleagues and friends and teachers, she you can look at a sky map or some type of like book that has a sky map in it and see Ophiuchus right there. So it really is funny that they show people these things, but then they tell you it's not real. So I've done a lot of digging, obviously, right? And so when I found Ophiuchus, I'm saving the best part, y'all, okay? When I found Ophiuchus, I said, what? There's a 13 sign, okay. It's during this time, okay, because I'm already on Eastern. So I'm thinking at this time, and I'll say for myself, I'm born November 30th. So I'm supposed to be a Sagittarius in Western, right? So then when I got on Sidereal when I was 17, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really a Scorpio. That makes so much more sense. Like, okay, Scorpio, November. I'm at the end of November anyway. I'm in with the Scorpios anyway. And so then when I found out Ophiuchus, come to find out, I was born the first day of Ophiuchus, the 13th sign. So I was like, what? Say what? That snake thing right there, a man, a woman holding the snake, and the two stars are the border stars are actually on the ecliptic, which is the Wheel of Fortune. That's the band that all these signs are moving through. The reason why Ophiuchus is a sign. So a lot of people will tell you, okay, the Ophiuchus is not a sign, it's not a zodiac sign, but it's actually taking up space on the Wheel of Fortune that they got rid of. Okay. So and the history says basically that the in Greek he said, oh, let's get rid of this sign. I'm gonna stop and say, why y'all think he said let's get rid of the sign? It's um Ptolemy. When you look up the Western Zodiac and Ptolemy, he's like, or if you look up Ophiuchus even, it'll say Ptolemy saw it on the ecliptic, saw it on the band, because math and science is not new to Europe. So they know there's a snake. Egypt knows there's a snake. China knows there's a snake and a dragon. The Mexico, Quetzalcoatl knows there's a snake. There's a snake all throughout India. There's a snake all throughout, Egypt, Kemet. There's a snake all throughout all these different cultures. Everybody got a snake. Everybody got a Dambala and a Wado and you know what I mean? So basically, this I didn't know I was going to be one of the main people probably on this planet who are keeping the information going and also having the sign as my own and also having a family full of Ophiuchus women. So we all were supposed to be Sagittarius. And so I got an Ophiuchus grandma. I got an Ophiuchus niece. I got an Ophiuchus twin aunts. And my great grandma, their great grandma, had the Ophiuchus moon. So it just keeps passing down through my mother's family to be this snake goddess thing. So I had to figure out what was actually going on. So I started looking around in Egypt where the core of the snake reality. I started looking around, I already was doing Chinese astrology. I told you anything with astrology, I read it. So yeah, that's a lot of my story, and it's so specific to what a lot of us are dealing with. And see, that's with the leg off. See, you got to get the right picture, because that's with the leg off. And some people are trying to midpoint that leg off, and that is killing her. So definitely get the right picture where you see two legs and a snake. Because there's basically Ophiuchus is even another constellation. The snakes are two separate snake pieces constellations. They have their own name too. But they're in Ophiuchus. Oh, Ophiuchus is so specifically in the line, on the line, through the line, above the line, below the line. Scorpio is so much stuff going on that people want to try to chop it up, cut it out, mislabel it, hide it. It's obviously the 13th gate, which women have with the yoni power and the portal and doorway to in and out of the galaxy. So the whole universe, the whole galaxy is basically as above, so below. So even with women, the galaxy is shaped like that, where that area, Ophiuchus, is a black hole. It's a tear, it's a rip in the galaxy where you would go from being in your body like a snake, right, to being in your outer body when you do the out of body experiences, when you do those kind of, people who have died and come back, all of that is in that realm. Very Scorpio. So a lot of people are going off the Western calendar and they don't know where anything is, everything is. So the first hint is to definitely get on the sidereal calendar. And I wish I would have given y'all some slides or whatever, but I do classes and stuff. Yeah, that's still with one of her legs. You got to get, it's another picture. Yeah, so it's funny because it's Scorpio, but then it's also Ophiuchus in that same space. And it's a big star. It's a big, big star right there. And that's the part that people are forgetting about. So you could even say, even in the pictures, the fact that you can't see her other leg, but then it's connecting down. But that Scorpio energy connects to other parts of her leg. There's all kind of stars on her leg and in the middle of her legs. So you got one foot on the other side, but some of those pictures are missing her main foot that's stepping into the scorpion's heart. So the scorpion's heart is the center of the galaxy. It's the very center of like the goddess portal, It's basically the yoni. It's that opening, that 13th gate. It's missing the legs, I think, completely.
Yeah, I was listening.
I'm just still sharing images. Don't
Yeah,
mind me.
I know. I know. Yeah, there's I know. Rod, help her find a picture with because the whole leg part is like some people are already getting. It's like people are trying to change the calendar based on the leg. This is how much we're currently. This is the type of stuff I'm having to deal with right now. Um, and what I'm saying is that, you know, there's some hidden aspects going on here. There's some censoring, you know what I mean? There's some misunderstandings. Don't that sound like stuff women got to deal with? Um, there's some like secret order stuff. There's some erasure for sure, censoring, mislabeling, moving and you know what I mean? Shifting the real true the truth about our indigenous cultures, the more pre-Christian cultures around the world. That's what Ophiuchus represents. A lot of it is like the goddess, order. It has a lot to do with women and medicine. Like when you bring the children into the world, women had to be the first doctors. They had to cut each other's umbilical cords and stuff. You know what I mean? Like you're bringing children into the world. You have to know how to deal with emergencies and breathing and children stuff and all kind of things, So the medical industry turned more masculine. That was another way that that it was censored. Women have been censored out of being able to even practice medicine or their natural, you know. So Ophiuchus has a lot of talent in those things, like divination for sure, um, channeling, magic, any type of yoga, anything having to do with a kundalini, anything having to do with your dancing, body, channeling, chanting, music, even that whole hypnotic. It's very Scorpio-like. It's very Scorpio-like, but it's another level right there. So some people don't like that. Oh, I feel this is like, stepping on Scorpio. No, she's stepping into Scorpio. She had to go through life after death. She has to go through the bleeding, the censoring, the hate, you know what I mean? She had to go through the burning and stuff. All of it's written in the sky, So she's had to go through, the fire. She had to go through the transformation. Good or bad. It's Ophiuchus has to do with the snake medicine, which is both poison and medicine. It's all in degrees and dosages. So it's alchemy. It's alchemical down there. Yeah. So basically, that's my sign, and I found out a long time ago. And so I've definitely been collecting information and teaching, information and trying to help people who especially have the energy, but it's in us somewhere in our chart everywhere. That's the thing. It's on the wheel. And a lot of people say it's not a sign. It is. It's on the wheel. It's in the wheel. It's on the chart. It is literally in your body. And actually, it's the center of the galaxy. It's sharing the center of the galaxy with your root chakra, like Scorpio. After that, it turns into Ophiuchus, an electric current going straight up into the top of heaven. That's another reason they don't want it. They don't want to give Ophiuchus its due, because only the legs are on the ecliptic. Yeah, that's the birth canal. You know what I mean? So people need to stop like hating on Ophiuchus. My biggest wish is that people integrate Ophiuchus and people don't try to midpoint her, move her leg, change her leg, because the mythology and the stars, so the astronomy has been very great for keeping up with history of stars. And I encourage people to, do a class with me and just get a reading with me, stuff like that. Definitely text me, let me know you want a reading. Make sure my number's right. It's got some 40210 stuff going on. But yeah, because I'm really good at knowing where all the planets are. I've memorized the real wheel. So this Western stuff is just a race in Ophiuchus. It's a race in star culture. We came here to work with the stars. And when you look at Western, it is off by a whole month, by 5 years, by 10 years. Right now, Western says we're supposedly going into Saturn and Pisces, and we're years off from that. Pluto supposedly going into Aquarius. We're like 15 years off from that. It's ridiculous what they're doing. When you do Western, you are so off. It is not even funny. Western is never correct, let me tell you. And even if your sign stayed the same, you're at the beginning, not the end. That is very important because the rest of your chart is off. So I'm definitely telling anybody who's watching, do not do Western astrology. It is a fictitious calendar. This is what I learned when I was 17. It is based on them moving the point from the beginning of the calendar, which is spring, and lining Aries up to that and sticking it there. So they're not working with what's actually happening, nothing. It's just create a false calendar and use that false calendar basically to manipulate people. Okay? And that's what happened. What's happening anytime you don't add Ophiuchus in, the real duration of Virgo, the real part that's Scorpio and Libra, and really look at the sky the way it really is. Now, Sidereal does a decent job, even Sidereal 12, of lining up to the actual stars and not doing that. That's why we really have Pisces for a whole month. So the Western moved the calendar over so bad. Yeah, there's the legs. You see what I'm saying? It's going down in the Scorpio right there, down in the Scorpio. And basically they've moved everything and we're off. That's why we're so off. We should be on a 13-month calendar and be 28 days equally. Okay. But we're even with what the calendar we have, we're so off. Because Indian astrology people know this. They know that we're in Pisces right now. We're not near Aries. So even with the improper calendar in the Western calendar, like the number dates, we don't have to be on the wrong astrological calendar. Okay, with Western, you are 30 days off, 5 years off, 10 years off for planets. The outer planets are way off, decade off. We won't be in Pluto and Aquarius for like 15, 16 years. Really stupid what they're doing. You can look at it now, okay? Back when I was a little kid, you couldn't see it. You just had to know them facts right there that it's off, okay? But now you can see it, okay? Now you have exactly what I've been studying. You can see it for yourself. Something's off. How do you think they were able to conquer everyone? How do you think they were able to create a patriarchal system that has everyone sick? How do you think they were able to have everyone lose their memory of all their indigenous cultures? Because they messed up the calendar 2,000 years ago. So Ophiuchus is not new. And Sidereal has been going on the whole time. It didn't move into Ophiuchus now and being, Ophiuchus back then or Scorpio like an Indian, and then move into it now. Like, oh, people say it's new. Oh, we just moved. No, it's been this way. They just messed it up. Yeah, they like stuck the calendar to a certain point and left it there, or like made a whole thing about it. And really, you don't do that. You stick with the stars. That's why sidereal is. People who are sidereal astrologers, I'm telling you, give them their props. But even more so, people who are 13 sign of Ophiuchus, real time, all the planets, they are astronomers and they are doing even deeper diving work than just 12 sign cookie cutter pie, looking like a pie chart, with the signs. So anyways, I don't want to go too deep into, different methods and stuff because there's houses. We're not talking about houses, we're talking about signs. They're not a cookie cutter view of the signs. Okay, so yeah, that's mainly what I want y'all to know about what's going on right now and ever, because this has been going on, and they done moved everything and messed up everybody's head, and people are sick and they're disconnected to their indigenous information, to their culture, to their knowledge. They don't know where planets really are. Isn't that sad? And we don't know where
Yeah,
the shit is because Western
yeah.
took over and messed up the calendar for everyone. Doesn't that make sense that that's an additional, you know, mind? Hello, they jacking with our heads. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that I got off the calendar over 20 years ago. But that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I don't mess with that Western calendar. Y'all don't mess with that shit. I'm telling you. Telling you now.
Mhm. Like,
Okay?
just
Y'all
going
don't want
on
to
with
see me online every day telling you don't do it. But I'm telling you now. Remember me. I
it.
said it.
Mhm.
The
Just to
Ophiuchus
go,
girl.
go in real quick. So, like,
Yes.
here's the thing about that sign or that zodiac. So, there's a lot of different cultures, and I'll just point some out because this is how you start seeing it a little bit more. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are into this game called Yu-Gi-Oh, right? They have a
Mm.
selection of cards or cards that they playing cards that deal with the zodiacs. And what do you know? They know there's a 13th sign.
Oh,
Then we
yeah.
go to one of my favorite animes of all times. It's called
Yeah, he
Saint
was
Seiya.
popular in
Mhm,
Japan, one of the Ophiuchus astrologers. That's how it got big
mhm.
over there. They accepted it.
Big
Just so you
time.
know, that's part of the history. That's why
Mhm.
it's big over there. Sorry,
And,
sorry.
and then yeah, and then it's like they get into the anime, right? And then the anime, they have an
Mm-hmm.
anime called Saint Seiya that deals with all the constellations. It's sort of like almost like a Power Ranger thing, but they also introduce everyone on. I want to say later in no, it might be the first episode or second episode. They introduce Ophiuchus as a woman
Mm-hmm.
when they first. I want to say it's either episode one or two, one of the two. But in their first episode, they show you that there's a sign called Ophiuchus, and then
Mm-hmm.
they represent her as a woman. Not only her, but any like Aquila and all these other particular stars that's around there.
Mm-hmm.
They're all women with silver masks on. And I was just
Mm.
like, oh, as a kid, I was paying attention, but I wasn't paying attention. But as I got older, I said, oh, snap, it's like right there in our faces. And then in their stories, they give you 12 signs and they give them the golden. They give Ophiuchus the silver age. They give, the solar polar stars bronze. So they tell you gold, silver, and bronze ages through this whole anime. Like it's a real deep one. I always tell people to literally check it out. And it may be some stupid things here and there, but the only reason you should really look at that anime is to look for the constellation. Anybody who's an
Mm-hmm.
astrologer or astronomer, that is one good way to teach yourself the names of these constellations. Because they tell you to name them, they give them little special powers, and then her powers is dealing with thunder and a cobra, a serpent.
Mm. Oh, that's
So
very much electricity. Yeah.
they bingo. So then it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it's not like this is in Japan. You feel
Oh
me?
yeah, that's
If
what I'm
Japan
saying.
knows
There's
about
one guy was famous. He's old now too, probably
it,
about to pass away. I've studied with some of these people that are gone. So he got big, huge in Japan, and did a lot of readings for even like the royal people in Japan in 13 signs. So this became a pop culture thing in Japan because this guy in Britain went over there and it translated. So somehow he blew up over there and was over there in like I guess the 90s. Yeah. How cool, right? So I was about to
like,
find it, but like there was no real internet. So I didn't know what he was doing, but I was finding my own thing and I decoded it myself too using sidereal astrology because it's not that far off. And now there's programs. Now I'm in some programs. Now there's more interest. Now there's the internet so we can find this truth. Now we have all these apps and stuff. So you still have to learn astrology, know astrology, which is really important as well. But just knowing where things are, knowing that there's really a 13th sign, knowing that, it's more about sidereal astrology than Western, that's really important
Hmm. So give
to
give
get yourself
give a
off.
few key words that you would call
Hmm.
Ophiuchus.
Oh, definitely Kundalini. Kundalini. Yep. Because this is like how you're even coming through your mother's birth canal, and then there's a umbilical cord that comes out too. So that's a snake. That's your DNA, and that's a snake. So there's a cord that comes out through the mother's legs. Hello, what does that sound like to you? And then she holds the baby. She's holding the cord. Hello, what does that sound like to you, right? And
Hmm.
it makes 13. Like, so then it's, I would also say DNA, just like how Kundalini, DNA, because it has to do with your bloodline and different traits traveling through the bloodline and different talents and your genes and stuff. So it has to do with that same Kundalini, like that snake going up your spine. So it's down to the smallest molecule, down to the biggest, the electric current in your body, your aura. You know what I mean? So I would say Kundalini, DNA, and then medicine, because there's plant medicine that gets you out of your body, and there's medicine that helps you in your body, or you know what I mean? There's a galactic body in that whole like outer body thing. When you dream or when you have a premonition or you thought about your friend and then they called you, that's kind of out of body. Like it's the third eye. So that's, let's say, medicine, but then also third eye, because third eye is how you're able to go in and out of your body. You know what I mean? It's part of your kundalini. I just want to bring that to the awareness that it's like third eye, out of body, DNA, medicine. Because the medicine symbol is a snake. So we got to have that medicine in there. Because that's what they took that information, and only the doctors can heal you. You know what I mean? When really you can heal yourself, and the work being in alignment with the world and the universe. This is the part they took out, y'all.
Hmm.
This is it.
So
So they removed our third eye. Okay. Like, wait, what?
so get some details when it comes to this removal. What stories do you recommend people to look up to get their own journey search into this realm?
Well, I mean, basically just got rid of the women. They got rid of the indigenous cultures. They got rid of the 13 calendar that even the Native Americans were doing with Turtle Island and the shell. There's 13 sections, 13 moons. So they got rid of like the 13 moon, 13 sign. They got rid of so much. So it's a full on censorship with all of the even the books in the Bible being mainly men, all of the saviors or whatever being men, all of the prophets, you know what I mean, being men. This is how they rewrote history and stuff. So I try not to focus on all that because it just pisses me off so much. But y'all definitely should get a reading and a class with me, because this ain't the stuff that's in the books. I should have more books by now, but I'm doing a lot more classes and personal readings, because when you know your personal chart, that's your real book right there. So like Ra has a Mercury retrograde, so I always tell him, be more and more clear, write more. He's an automatic writer basically with that Mercury retrograde, and we need to be documenting more of what it is that we're doing for sure. And it's easy now because of the internet, because of YouTube, that we can really be here for each other with the knowledge and information. Because a lot of these books are censored. A lot of this stuff ain't real. Or like, where's the books that's in your bloodline? This really is in your DNA. I mean, it's in my family. All this stuff. Okay, all this stuff is in my DNA. And so I have to help people train. I know that. I do know that. A lot of people reject this information. So I just feel like, sometimes maybe I was just a sleeping, let the snake sleep or whatever. But then it's time to really bring a lot of stuff out, because we're in a really weird space with Pluto moving into Capricorn. And that's going to tank the monetary system and the government and the structure of money And actually, yeah, they say 13 is bad luck. You got it. And actually, they're going to try to instill a new level, a new age of slavery through this Pluto and Capricorn. They're getting rid of the lower class and the middle class with this economic downturns that they've been manufacturing. So they keep saying, we're going to keep raising the interest rates, and 2 million people are going to lose their job. You know what I mean? But just keep on going. Don't worry about it and stuff like that. But in what's really happening is they're bottoming out the economy. So then there can really be a wider gap of wealth. They're moving the money all to the top. So a lot of people in between are going to lose out right now, and they're probably going to have to leave the country and live on the land in order to really survive and just get away from all the stress that this country and that this society keeps manufacturing for everyone here. Even the people who are wealthy are dealing with the level of sickness and
Yes, it seems like she lost signal.
Okay, because I thought that was me for a second. I was like that was a signal. But all right, so until she gets back in. So things about this sign, right? We're gonna go into story time real quick. So a lot of the things that she's speaking on is in this realm. So if you look at this particular slide that we have up, right? Notice in this diagram, this is something that some people will talk about is not being the real thing, things of that nature, or it's not because it's been worked on for many of years when it comes to a lot of the conquering. So when you start to study a little bit about this, then you start to study a lot of what's coming on. When it comes to this particular sign, right? If you really focus yourself to the bottom of of this wheel, and then you look just slightly up, you'll see a centaur holding a bow and arrow with wings. He's pointing towards a Scorpio. If you go straight up from the Scorpio, you'll see a seated Netcher on a solar bowl. That is the 13th sign. If our ancient cultures knew about this sign, why do we not understand about this? And when you see this particular area and you start to really study this particular piece of work, you'll start to know where the galactic center is on both ends. And if you go from where Ophiuchus is at and you go straight across, going straight diagonal, you'll see a man upside down with a staff. That is considered Orion. So when it comes to these opposites, how the stars actually match, they show you in this display. When it comes to the rest of the signs, you just got to kind of look for them. You can see Taurus right above them. You can see Gemini to the right of the bull. You'll see a falcon on on a stick, or with the Atep crown, which is basically dealing with the sun, the
Hey
moon.
Cody, hey Cody. Peace, y'all. Hey.
When it comes to the right of it, you'll see the star that we know as Suptit. You'll see a bull on the top right sitting on a solar bowl. That is the star that they call Suptit, or Cyrus A, Cyrus B. Next to that, you'll start to see a little person with an arrow. That's another constellation that people don't talk about. There's all these particular constellations, or how you say zodiacs, that go in this wheel that make up a lot of what we know today. And as you start to study, you start to see the Cancer, the Leo, the Virgo that's right behind it. You'll see Libra, you'll see Scorpio, you'll see Ophiuchus, you'll see Sagittarius, you'll see Capricorn. You'll see Aquarius right behind Capricorn. You'll see Pisces. You'll see Aries, and you'll see Taurus. It's all there. The circumpolar stars, the southern stars, which are the deacons, which deals with the term sidereal. When people learn about sidereal, just know sidereal is the 360-degree way that we chart things. Those particular nimbus, or what they call deacons on the outer ring, that's how they read a chart. This is the degree markers. Then you have the suns, and you have certain planets that they dress up as, certain natures and things of that nature. But when it comes to this particular um, zodiac, it's always been known, but we're just, for
Thank
most of us,
you.
we'll get back into the remembrance of things. And then, oh, you're back. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being back. But everything's all good on your
Yeah.
side?
Yeah, somebody just called me and I don't do that airplane thing. I should have probably did it, but
Mm.
I should be good. At least I know how to come back. So,
All right, so
yeah, but I was
tell
just saying
us
how
real
people are
quick
so
about
sick
yourself.
and sad,
Mhm.
even with money in this country. So they're even saying basically the bottom of the economy is going to be like, say, $100,000, 6 figures a year. So that means anybody who's making less than that is going to feel more of the pain of of the economy come as we're going in to a new sign with Pluto. So we're moving into Pluto and Capricorn. So Pluto and Capricorn is basically going to be really hard on people and it's going to tank the economy. And we see it happening already. I've been prophesizing a few things, predicting a few things, and they've been coming true. I think Rob was on my class when I predicted the crash of last year,
Mhm.
the Bitcoin
Yeah.
crash that we still have not recovered from. I had a class in, oh, thank you. I had a class in April, at the end of April. Okay. So at the end of April, it was right before a new moon, and I was looking up the Mercury retrograde chart for us. And basically, I looked at the Mercury retrograde chart and I said, this looks like the crash, you guys. This looks like the crash. And come to find out, 2 weeks later, as I said specifically, I actually have that recording and the date on it and everything. So you could see I saw Bitcoin dropping before it happened. I have
Mhm.
the evidence. Okay.
Facts.
So we don't have to cut pieces of it up and put it on something because I saw it happening and I said there's something that they are not telling us. There's something. There's something they're not telling us. Okay. Oh, and y'all put up my Cash App too if anybody want to throw me some bones. I'm serious. But I saw that there was something they're not telling us because it was in the 12th house, really deep down into the bottom of the ocean, y'all. So this is the bottom of the ocean in the chart because I've been reading, like I said, since I was 15. So I remember so much about astrology, all the inner workings. And it is definitely passed down to me from somebody, somewhere, the being able to remember everything and know where everything is. And so I just study and I remember where everything is. But in the 12th house, that's the deepest part of your chart. Before you go to the rising, it's basically as deep as you can get into the abyss, into the spiritual house, the 12th house. And the Mercury was right there on the edge, right deep, as deep as you can't get no deeper than this, okay? And it was in Taurus. So I remember too. Okay, I did the class, I know what happened, and I can still remember what's happening from then and now. And I saw that Mercury was going to retrograde in the shadow of the rising in the 12th house, way, way deep down in the ocean, and that it was going to retrograde in Taurus. And I was like, ain't no way in hell this ain't the crash. It was sticking out at me just like there was no way for it not to be a crash, basically. So what's crazy is Pluto was also retrograde, and right now we're literally going into Pluto and Capricorn, which is money. Capricorn's money. So that's why we have the banks crashing right now. They had a bubble, that's Sagittarius, so we're on the Sagittarius side right now. And as we move down into the Capricorn side, all these banks are crashing because of the bubble busted, because we're at the top, the hottest point of the bubble right now. Okay, that's why it's blowing up in everybody's faces every time you turn around. So I've been predicting this one too, right, Ra? Every class, even since last year. So I saw what happened last year. And so this is what's crazy. Last year, on the first day of Mercury retrograde, This is what happened. This is what happened. I know. It's crazy because I predicted it. But I said there's something that they're not telling us. That specifically was what I saw as in the deepest, darkest shadows of the ocean. There's something you don't know. There's some secret stuff. And when it goes retrograde, it's something, it's basically, anyways, you get it. Y'all get it. It's because it was Taurus, which is money. So I was like, oh shit,
Right.
this is like the crash. Okay.
Mhm.
So then on the first day of Mercury retrograde, it was May 10th or 12th. I think it was May 10th. They actually, his name is Jerome Powell from the Feds. And you know, the Feds, they're outside entity of the government and they are the ones in control of money. It's not our government, it's the Feds, the Federal Reserve. Okay. So this guy gets up there and he says, okay, y'all, we've been printing money all this time. He said, now we're going to start quantitative tightening. So I had to go look it up. I was like, what? What? So I went and looked it up. And quantitative tightening is when you slow down the printing of money for like the first time in 10 years. Plus, they printed more money in Corona to give us those damn stimulus checks. Okay. So, out of nowhere, they're like, yeah, we're going to stop printing money. Yo, that day, Bitcoin collapsed. The stock market collapsed. Everything that I had said about some secret that they ain't telling us, everything I had said about the money, the crash with Taurus, and see, Western was saying it was in Gemini. This is how ridiculous. I'm telling you, if you're a Western astrologer, you need to get on Sidereal and take a class from me so you get on Ophiuchus because you're so off doing Western. If you think you studying something, but every time somebody like me tells you it ain't over there, it ain't over there. I'm telling you. So I was able to see that the money system was about to crash. So Bitcoin still has not recovered. And a lot of people lost their jobs, and that's when the inflation happened, and that's also when the gas happened. That whole retrograde was really rough for a lot of people. And the one that's coming looks almost exactly like it in May. Pluto and Mercury will also be retrograde. And now we have this added layer. Okay, thank you. Now we have this added layer of money, a monetary system crashing even more than just Bitcoin and, some stocks. No, we have an added layer of the banks failing. Don't y'all see what's going on? Like all my latest classes for my last 6 months, okay, have been about this situation that's happening right now. And that's because last year, and Rob was my witness, okay, he is extremely helpful supporter because he knows that it's important to know where things are, okay? And he knows it's important to make sure that this knowledge stays alive. Y'all don't understand how much they be trying to censor and just be done away with this time, this real time, okay? The real timekeeping this stuff. So yeah, here's my Cash App. I'm gonna put it right here. It's Vegan Mystic. And y'all don't understand, I have dedicated my whole life to do this work. And so, I've had to be another person or, have other jobs and all of that. But this is really what I know I'm supposed to do. It's all in my chart because I feel this has to do with the, hold on, get my charger. Ophiuchus has to do with the spiritual, mathematical. There's some Imhotep energy because he worked with staff. Okay, so when you really study about Imhotep, about the Asclepius, even Jesus came out of Asclepius. So that the serpent and the staff energy, the staff is the serpent as well. Even the word staff has to do with a serpent energy and a magic wand. So there's so many levels, y'all. I wasn't kidding when I said it. But yeah, that's what's going on is like we're in the middle of a major pivotal time. And even just to bring it back to Ophiuchus on what's happening, they're using Ophiuchus in a negative way because Ophiuchus is power. Ophiuchus is also crypto. So I have a theory, and it's happening pretty fast, that crypto is Ophiuchus. And they're going to use the blockchain, and they're going to use the even digital currency, but they're going to use AI and blockchain for wars. And I've been seeing that a lot too, that they're, even with the Ukrainian war, people were sending Bitcoin to the people because they couldn't get any money out the banks and stuff. They were using Bitcoin to move around that region. Um, and then also, and I'm trying to remember, was that before the crash? That was before the crash because it started in last March, and
It
then
was
the
before.
crash was last May. So Bitcoin was at an all-time high during that beginning of the war. And when they were using Bitcoin to get through that war, and then there was a crash with the Mercury retrograde because they changed the monetary system for all the printing. Now, mind you, okay, they are going to print a bunch of money for those damn banks right now, but they stopped printing money for the people. You see that shit? You see that shit? So it's so many levels of technology is going to be used in an evil way. Yeah, you see the feet right there. Technology is going to be used in an evil way. We know that. Look at this AI stuff. It's not all bad, y'all. Use AI to make your life easier. But just know that what I have seen, what it seems to be happening, what they've even used the blockchain and all that, I mean, it's not all bad, but they're going to manipulate the technology to use against us. We know that. We know the end of the story. We know, I mean, we grew up in the Terminator times. We grew up in the Matrix days, right? So we know what they're going to use this technology stuff, but don't let it scare you off. Don't stay in a box. Now is the time to actually keep growing and learning and getting more spiritual and coming together and connecting together. Yes, that's the ecliptic. That's the wheel of fortune. And a lot of this you already know is ancient Egyptian, ancient Kemetic. It's the same stuff that's on the walls. That's what's so deep. And they turn Ophiuchus into a man. That's another thing. A lot of people didn't even know. I didn't realize people don't know. It's a woman. It's hidden in Scorpio and it has to do with her feminine energy. And Scorpio is the sexual organs. That's where Ophiuchus is. It's the 13th gate. It's the 13th moon. It's the missing 13th moon. It's the missing Kundalini, feminine energy. And men come through her and men have her energy. Yes. But that is the 13th. It's called the Great Rift. It's literally a tear in the galaxy right there. So that's where you're going to enter and exit your body when you die, when you come down. This is literal, y'all. That's why you don't follow Western. It's not going to show you this, and it's not going to show you where things really are. It's so off, and it was used as an instrument of manipulation. It was used as an instrument to take people off of their time, men and women. Everyone we all were affected by this. We all were affected by this, okay? And we still are because they are telling us the wrong signs. They're telling us about to be Aries, about to be Aries. All that you see, all that stuff is propaganda. Then you don't know what's real and what's fake, what planets are together, what stuff is going where, what square. I know it's a bunch of misinformation, and then only a piece of it is true, and they're interpreting it with the wrong energy. So you really have to start learning like astrology and learning, seeing where things are for yourself. And of course, I can help you, but I know you need to get these sky maps. I'll put the sky maps in the chat. I guess y'all can see my chat and stuff. So these are the sky maps that you want to get. For iPhone, you want the Sky Guide. Sky Guide. Hold on one second. Whoop. Sky Guide. And that's app, the iPhone. Oop. It's kind of got a little delay. Hold on one second. Okay, so Sky Guide for the iPhone, and then Google Sky Map app for Android. And so you can actually connect with the sky yourself. So to get your chart, you need to just hit me up. You got my number, you got my Cash App, put your even email in the Cash App. I do the written chart and a consultation for like 30 minutes to an hour for $100. Or you can just get one or the other for like 50, basically, just to make it easy for everybody here. So you get a little discount too. But yeah, that's my links are in the chat as well. Thank you so much, Joy. And I just, it's just really sad, you know, that I'm here kind of feeling a little bit alone, that a lot of people have been brainwashed into Western. Thank God for Rob. Thank God for all of y'all on the chat just listening and open to the information. I do read a lot of people, but I know a lot of people go back to sleep and they don't really understand why it's important to know their sign, and they don't really follow their chart path. This is obviously my path. It's all in my chart, that I'm living for the truth, that I'm here for the knowledge, for the information, that I'm here for the medicine, that I'm here for the wisdom, you know, and that even to remind people that Alpha-Use is a woman. I didn't realize that people didn't know that. But yeah, if you look at all the stories or whatever about Alpha-Use, it's a man, it's a man, it's a sleepiest, it's a man, it's a Greek man, it's a man, you know, but it's in the feminine energy of Scorpio. Like, what? But, and so you have to really tune in to the snake goddess energy. Before a lot of these like male centered religions and stuff, it was even men worshiping the hell out of women and the snakes and the feminine body and the feminine energy. We're all into it. It's not about women just being, you know, the best or something. It's women feed everyone. That's the reality of life. So why make her seem like she's not the goddess? Like, what? So this is the part they took out. This is where the wires start getting crossed and they start making it, you know, a figure, a man to be worshipped, and making a woman like she's evil and she's a slave. That's how it ended up. That's how it ended up. A lot of censoring, a lot of control, a lot of negative connotations with women or childbirth, or even women being doctors and healers and stuff like that. The witches being burned, you know. Um, just all the indigenous cultures being enslaved into this too. It's just, it affects everyone. That's the saddest part about it is, you know, it affects everyone. And we're still on we're still on in the brainwashing program where they're giving us the wrong astrological information. What a shame. You know what I mean? Can't
Mm-hmm.
even read what's really going on in our own, you know, sky. Can't even read it because you're following, you know what I mean? I hate to say it like that, right?
Mm-hmm. And it goes as far as people need. It's not even that they need to understand, but if they really see all this changing, they got to understand that that controlling mechanism of Western is
Mm-hmm.
something that we all fall prey to. The only thing I
Mm-hmm.
can say Western is only good for is when you're talking about the body chart. But there's something missing in that body chart when you think about it. When you got the head to the toe, the only thing that's good for the head to the toe is the degrees and degrees only. When you start to put those signs in, they're always going to take that sign out. And that's not good moving forward, especially in this generation. That is not good at all for us. And the
Mm-hmm.
more that they keep taking and taking and taking and taking, like just looking into the mysteries of
Mm-hmm.
just the number 13 is a huge reason why they just hit it
Mm-hmm.
all. Here's the crazy part. So when you look into the animals of the tribes of Judah, notice that when you're talking about Dan and they took him out, and his representation within the Bible was a serpent.
Mm.
So it goes
There's
that
so
deep.
many layers of the
So
serpent being taken out.
and then they demonize it, give it the the serpent that tempt Eve and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you start to really see where they're going with, like the whole serpent and the apple is just the Kundalini getting to that part. That's when you really start to go into deep dive into those studies. And then when you start to learn about how things came into creation and not starting point, there's a reason why that particular constellation and zodiac is right in the galactic center.
That's
And most
right.
people are not aware of that galactic center as well. So when we're talking about a fucus, we're also talking about the galactic center. We're also talking about a lot of origin stories from this particular part that also deals with this star known as Cyrus, or what people know as Polo Tolo, or Cyrus B, and things of that nature. Like all these stories, when you start to go into our culture, different types of culture, even when you're dealing with the Chinese zodiac, they mention the 13th sign, but they don't put it there because the 13th sign is the emperor that gave all the zodiacs their power. You just keep going and going and going and going and going, and it's so deep that it's unreal that a lot of our people are truly not aware of it. And I was one of them. Trust me, I was one of them. But when you start to get those hints, and I swear everybody got a hint somewhere, and it's either dealing with a 13, a snake, or something about what's that thing called or something dealing with your health. Those are the three main things I can say that everybody has some kind of epiphany or a sign that's dealing with leading to this particular constellation. So before we go, ask any questions, more, you got any questions that you like to share with the audience? Um, give us your take on how you feel about it.
Right. I'll just speak on the field from my point of understanding, for what I learned from it. So, from what I learned, it's associated with healing and immortality, and I agree with what she said. Like Western is on a fixed system, so you don't want to be fixed in nothing. You feel me? You want to always be adaptable. You know what I'm saying? Adjustable and have an open mind. So when you're on a fixed system, they kind of have like a fixed spiritual effect to you also. So you want to be real open about that. You know what I'm saying? And like I said in the beginning, the serpent also related to the serpent in the Bible. In the beginning of the Bible in Genesis, where the serpent was talking to Adam and Eve when they told them to bite off the knowledge. I'm gonna say the tree of life, because the tree of life, it can be a representation of immortality. You know what I'm saying? So and I was born on the 13th, so I connect well with this sign. And in ancient Mesoamerica, you know what I'm saying, the Mayan, they used to use 13 sign astrology and 28-month counter, like you said earlier. You know what I'm saying? And it's associated with health and healing. So if you take that up out of the zodiac wheel, you know what I'm saying, they take a part of our healing out. You know what I'm saying? Our
Yes.
ability to heal, you know what I'm saying, rebuild,
Yes.
regenerate.
Mhm.
So that's why, like she said, a lot of people are sick because they don't know the proper
Mhm.
energy of healing, you know what I'm saying, will come from this sign right here.
Yep.
And what else can I say about it? The serpent is another sign for wisdom, which is between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So
Mhm.
it carry both of those type of energy.
Mhm.
So yeah, like she said, it was a woman at first, and then Christianized is all about patriarch. You know what I'm saying? They took away
Mhm.
the matriarch and replaced it with patriarch, all dudes. You know what I'm saying? Just like
Mhm.
the 12 zodiac signs associated with the 12 disciple, that's all dudes.
Mhm.
And we know all dudes didn't do all that. You feel me? You gotta have balance.
Oh my God,
You
that
know what I'm
was
saying?
perfectly said.
We gotta have balance. We need 6 women, 6 men. You know what I'm saying? Or 7 women and 6 men to complete the whole circle. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? If we out of balance with the zodiac wheel, that make our spiritual life out of balance too. To me, in my opinion,
Mhm.
yeah. And the number 13 is not considered bad luck. It's a lucky number for real because it's rare. You know what I'm saying? We're rare people. You know what I'm saying? And it's associated with the World Health Organization staff, right?
Mhm.
The snake going around the staff,
Mhm.
which the ambulance use and all that. So they're
Mhm.
using it, but we not using it.
Mhm.
So we need to come to a better understanding of our
Yes.
inner self, which is this sign is located within
Mhm.
ourself. And the Greek. I'm not the mythology behind this is the 13th sign used the snake venom and a couple
Mhm.
herbs, right, to make a magic
Mhm.
potion, and they
Mhm.
gave people access to immortality. So I believe if we bring that back,
Mhm. Yes.
we probably can live longer. You know what I'm saying? Cause
Exactly. You got it.
like they cut our lifespan short.
Oh, this is great. I love it.
Yeah, like they
Yes.
cut our lifespan short when they took away that sign. And
Mhm.
people want to
Mhm.
fit everything into a circle. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
it's just it fits in the circle. But you know what I'm saying? It just
Mhm.
mess up the degrees. What the degrees been messed up in Western. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause they
Mhm.
on a fixed
Mhm.
system, and
Mhm.
they're not in real time. So we need to upgrade and get into real time. And that's what we
Ashe.
doing, making sure the people in real time. Peace.
Very much so.
Mhm.
And there's a few stories. There's a story of Afix being born out of a dead mother. There's a story of Afix being killed. That's the other part. Remember, he gets killed once he does all that immortality stuff. They take him out. So there's controversy around us healing. So a lot of us have a healing wound. And when we have Afix in our chart, it's a healing wound there that you need to find. Where's the healing wound? And help the person specifically. Um, you know, um, because of the Ophiuchus energy, basically they have a deeper pain. There's also the Achilles heel with this because her foot is stepping into the scorpion's heart, which is life and death. If you look at Scorpio's energy as life and death, then that means that she's stepping into the power of life and death in the Kundalini energy. Okay. And being able to go in and out of those realms. And like I said, everyone has this energy. So just like, don't think it's only women or something, or only people who have alpha yugas. But just know that the source of the energy seems to be, the creation story around women and the birth canal. And that's what they took out, and that's what they removed, and just moved everything. And without her foot, because I have to add this part now, without her foot, without that source of energy, the whole wheel is dead. So when you're doing astrology, you're not including her foot, or when you're using astrology, you're not including Ophiuchus. It's a dead system. It is not powered and charged up with the center of the galaxy and the serpent running up and down your spine. So when you leave that out, it's a dead science. That's why you see so many sciences with snake energy and the wormhole stuff and the black hole stuff and the poles of the nodes of the moon have to do with a snake as well. And they adopted that, Western adopted that from an Eastern culture. So this whole serpent thing and the snake, when you really look at what is Ophiuchus, it is touching into the serpent or the scorpion energy of life and death. That's why Scorpio's holding the serpent. Scorpio's holding the scorpion. Scorpio's holding the eagle energy, the ascension up. That's Ophiuchus too. You see what I mean? So all of this stuff, it runs together. To try to separate it and start moving and stuff is ridiculous. But that's exactly what people have done. So yeah, it's really important to get in alignment with what is going on in the sky. And I try to move it, and I try to be like, oh, get very scientific with this stuff. Because thankfully, I'm telling you, astronomy has preserved a lot of the old stories, and people aren't looking at astronomy and they're not thinking that's astrology, but it is. It's the origins of the stars being the guides, being the stargates of our bodies, of our spirit, of our mind, of time. Is keeping time. You don't want to move the clock. You want to be in alignment with the time, the grand time, the great clock that's happening. You want to be in alignment with that because it's in your body. That's what Ophiuchus teaches us, that this is in our body. Like the mother energy, you come through this wild constellation that has to do with this portal, doorway stuff, you know? And so everyone had that great mother connection before all of this and all of that. They knew like my mother earth or mother sky or mother energy, you know, is going to take care of me. The women in the community are going to take care of me, that I need a woman to take care of me, that I need the family with the woman, with the mama. Hello, to take care of me. And this is what a lot of people are suffering because they don't have it anymore. Because women aren't able to be women. Because women can't be mother. They have to go to work and fight through a capitalistic society. She can't just be there for us. You know what I mean? So it's really unfortunate that this is what it has come to, but I do know I did come back to do my part and assist on some level and remind people to do their part and to tune in to these natural cycles of life that we all have access to, with or without being an astrologer. We all have access to this stuff. I'm just here to remind you.
Hmm. So house-wise, what would you call Ophiuchus house-wise? Dealing with houses.
You mean Ophiuchus is, you mean what house, what area Ophiuchus is in?
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, it's the eighth house, which is also the 13th house, because the eighth house is the house of the unknown and it's Scorpio's house. So you would split that house with Ophiuchus. So I have some programs that I've been able to be included in that show my house system, but you can also do 12 houses because they are the meridian of the body here on earth. So I like equal houses because, again, if you're going to do something equal, let it be sidereal. So if you're doing sidereal and equal houses, that's pretty substantial or stable because you're using the meridians on the earth. And then there's also a 13 house system that I have been able to translate and create because there are 13 houses that are more etherical. Let's say that's more your astral body.
Right. And one more thing, I think in the Christian world, Frank, Felix can be associated with Jesus Christ
Hmm.
because he made the 13th after.
Hmm. This is definitely the predated Jesus when they turned Ophiuchus into a woman and from a woman into a man. It was Asclepius, and then it got turned into Jesus. So it was Ophiuchus. He's Ophiuchus too. You know. Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of staff activity in the Bible as well, where they're using the snake. And Imhotep did the same thing. He was able to use the staff. He was able to use the snake. It's really wisdom. We all have the
Right.
power, the potential to use wisdom and the information coming from above. And it just being like an aha moment. That's the electricity part. That's the third eye. That's the medicine. That's the, when you heal yourself, heal thyself. That's all the stuff they took out. That's all the stuff they got rid of. It's very deep.
Yeah, I have Uranus and Ophiuchus.
Oh, that's what's up. I love
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
you invent. That's how you
it's
transform.
like generation. Like myself
Hmm?
and you both have it. No, myself and Omar, we both have Uranus
Oh,
in.
okay. Yeah, I love that. I
Okay
love
then.
that. I love
Mhm.
that.
Or like, because mine is basically where it starts. I want to say yours may be a little bit more above mine's, Elmo. I want to say
Hmm.
yours is above mine's because mine's
Okay.
is, I want to say, was mine in retrograde? I can't remember. I gotta look at it. But yeah, it's like people that when they see it, like this the chart I have displayed right now, right? You see how this is what it really is. It may be just a slight off, just a little bit, but this is what this is. Where they have the
Hmm.
outer wheel that shows you the western part. The inner wheel is where you see what it really is. And as we were
Hmm.
talking about when it comes to Scorpio and Sagittarius, they
Hmm.
basically are
Hmm.
cutting that off. We're dealing
Horrible.
with this one. Like, for example, this is an example chart where we're dealing with the individual known as Brad Pitt, right? In his chart, he's basically at that borderline,
Hmm.
literally the
Hmm.
borderline, going straight
Yep.
in. And when we talk about these houses, you see how we have 13 houses altogether, but in this range of its own, when it comes to houses, you can count them on the outer ring. You can see them all there. They have those 12
Hmm.
houses, and within that eighth house, slash in this particular one, in the first house, he has Ophiuchus rising.
Thanks. You put up my house system. I love it. You're so sweet.
Mhm.
I don't know what I'd be doing without Rod, y'all, for real. That's what, when he asked me to be on the show, I was like, yes, because you deserve an interview anytime you ask me. Because
I
he
appreciate it.
always gets my charts, always gets my readings, always gets my classes, always shouts me out. Very sweet. And this is not easy, y'all, because a lot of people do not want to hear either about Ophiuchus or about Sidereal. They're just stuck on Western. And I'm like,
Right.
dude, you're missing over half of the story staying
Mm-hmm.
stuck on that shit. You don't even know the half.
Mm-hmm.
So
For sure.
it's sad. But
So
we
before we
waking them up. We waking them up. We waking them up, right, y'all? We waking
mhm.
them up.
So
All of us.
one thing I want to
All right.
want you to talk about when it comes to health, because I know I was
Mm-hmm.
talking to you about beforehand, but just go a little details into the health part when it comes to not even just dealing with the sign, but just in general.
Oh, okay, yeah. Best thing for me to say, especially with Pluto going into Capricorn, is that, man, y'all, that we have an ongoing food wars going on. Okay, they are killing us from within with the horrible food that are in our neighborhoods, that are at the grocery store, that are around the corner from work, all that shit. You can't eat none of that shit. Okay, you got to give up crappy food. You have to find the nearest either Whole Foods, farmers market, farmers, whatever. As we go into Pluto and Capricorn, let me tell you, so many people died, especially black people, through corona because they had core morbidities. They were already overweight. They already had diabetes. They already had high cholesterol. They already had heart problems. So they just died. Even from the, jab, they die from that because you stick yourself so many damn times and you're already sick. Okay, so many people have died. Well, guess what? Pluto and Capricorn, more people are going to die. So sadly, we had that earthquake in Syria and Turkey, and 40,000 plus people died from major earthquake recently. So we are not out of the woods yet with massive deaths or people dying from some crazy either disease or some type of catastrophe. You see all these horrible storms and stuff. Look, the earth is talking, plus we have an evil government, and that's Pluto and Capricorn, either way you cut it. So y'all have to stop eating this horrible food. I mean, I can go down. I have a cookbook. I have a cookbook on my link. I have a womb detox, which helps you get rid of sugar cravings on my link. The other one has desserts. I do raw vegan food. I didn't even say, did I? Oh, well, I said I was raw vegan goddess. But yes, my whole business is around being a raw vegan goddess, mainly because of how toxic the food has been. And I didn't want to automatically start talking about my food journey, but when I was telling you about my astrology, but it was almost synonymous. Yeah, I went vegan when I was 16 years old. And so I've been vegan for almost 25 years. Okay, 25 years, I have not eaten animal anything. I'm 41 years old, and most people are like, "What? You 40 so?" I barely have gained weight. I don't feel tired, but that's because I'm very strict. So I don't eat a lot of processed food. I don't eat grains like that. Grains have become so toxic. So when people eat bread, when you're eating bread, when you're eating tofu, even definitely when you're eating breaded chicken, even the fish, they have fish farm raised, they have parasites. It's so much shit, y'all. You have to eat green leafy vegetables. You have to eat real vegetables. You have to eat real produce. You have to eat real fruit. You have to eat real, even the damn almond milk has like fillers in it from beans. You don't want to eat too much beans and rice. They'll bloat you, they'll constipate you, they'll drag you down. You need to eat greens. You need to eat salads. You need to eat cabbage. You need to eat stir fries. You need to eat kale. And so I'll do some classes and stuff about it because there's many layers to all of this. But you get the point. It's all the fast food that is killing us. It's all the corn tortillas and corn, um, GMO freaking corn syrup and everything. When you turn around the label and you see there's corn syrup and there's GMO, all that's GMO. That's why there's so much autism. That's why there's so much disease. That's why people's gut, they can't even walk. Because when you cripple that stomach, you cripple that Virgo area, you cripple the whole body right there. So they know that they got a whole bunch of people coming in for operations, and they know they got a whole bunch of people coming in for medicine. Okay, when they do what they doing with the food. So we are in the middle of a major food war because all of our food is so tainted. If you do not eat fresh food from a good source, if you don't either grow it yourself or go to a farmer, you are eating toxic food. Okay, so it's really sad that that's how bad it is. But when you pick up that sandwich, I mean, just definitely get rid of the meat. All those animals are enslaved. They're sick and enslaved. The next pandemic probably will be an avian flu or a swine flu. They've said it. And already avian flu is out of control. That's why chicken and eggs are more money because they've been compromised with a disease, a worldwide disease, y'all.
Yeah,
Stuff
I
is
agree
deep.
with you on that. And you know, the government
Mm-hmm.
monetize off our sickness. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes, cancer.
they
It's huge.
deliberately put portion of food out there so they can make money off of us. You feel me? So
Yes. So that's who I am with the food. Just as serious about it is the astrology, really. There's no real separation for me. And it's become such a serious situation with food that sometimes I'm wondering, should I be doing food more? And that's what I'll be doing. I'll be helping more for the spring equinox women who have fibroids. I have some friends who basically that's their business, and women have to join up more. That was one of my latest predictions because when women join up more, the men will follow. Men will listen. That's the best way to get men to listen because men don't be listening. So instead, I'm just kidding, y'all. I know y'all listen, but just saying that women joining up together actually will piece a lot of this together. That was one of my main predictions for the full moon that just passed.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was just showing, just showing like the many different styles. Like, so it's like people got to really understand, even if it's in, our culture, this 12 sign stuff is not it. So a lot of the stuff that you'll see, like what I posted earlier, that's not it.
Hmm.
They're missing. There's always going to be a missing piece, but
Hmm.
they don't even know. Most of them don't even know that there's a missing piece. Everything
No.
that deals with 12 is a how you say, something that has been taken over by their system. A lot
Hmm.
of our old school teachings when it comes to like a lot of the things, like let's deal with Kemetic astrology for one. When you go into building into that, just know that that's a westernized version of our stuff.
Hmm.
When you
Hmm.
go into the Vedic, in a sense, they kind of adjusters, but they're still a little off. They still
It's
don't add,
Eastern. It's Eastern, but yeah, there
and then
it's
you got
still
Eastern.
patriarchal. It's still 12, and they've still gotten rid of the Ophiuchus, and they've minimized Virgo. They've made it all like a cookie cutter thing, which I do see as somewhat helpful to finding the real truth. It's interesting how Eastern and sidereal is how I'm able to translate. Before there were programs and stuff, I was able to like
Mhm,
remember and memorize all the different parts that were kind of off. And
mhm,
so there is something to creating a compass. But then once you see where you are, then you realize, oh, there's Ophiuchus. Because when you see Antares, when you see Scorpio's heart, you know right above it is the snake lady's leg, all the way up. You know that's the doorway into the center of the galaxy. So come on. We know they were moving through the center of the galaxy, all these different and ancient peoples. So we know that that means that they knew where the center of the galaxy was. They knew what was going on. How do we even know that that was Ophiuchus and Scorpio together? Because it's ancient information that is still happening today. And like I said, astronomy does a really good job at keeping a lot of this history because astrology, it don't necessarily. They move stuff, they get rid of stuff, they, come up with ideas and all kind of stuff. But when you start studying the history of each of these different stars, this is why you want to be on 13. Accurately. Both legs.
that part. That part.
Don't get me started, man. Oh
I
Lord.
know, I know, I know.
I can't believe somebody would chop off her leg. I'm still like, oh. But anyways, we have a whole inside joke going, y'all. But um, oh, I did want to speak about the number 13. It's a prime number, so it can't be broken down, you know. It's also on the Fibonacci. It's a Fibonacci number. It's one of the natural sequences of the spiral. So again, there's that snake within the spiral, the way nature moves, the way nature reproduces itself is the Fibonacci. And 13's right there. So yeah, no. Plus there's 13 weeks to a season. There's 13 months a year. There's 13 cards in each suit of a deck of cards, just like the seasons. The deck of cards mirrors the seasons. There's 13 bones. There's like 13 bones. There's in your head. There's 13 main, like I said, sections on a turtle's shell. I have it on my Instagram. It's tagged under 13. There's Ophiuchus on the top, and there's the indigenous calendar, being that there was a 13 moon. And again, a lot of this information people just forget. And it's because we've been so indoctrinated into the 12 and into the um, Western calendar. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the backbone, right. There's even the cranial. I think there's a sacred cranial 13 thing going on too. So it's so many levels of 13. There's so many levels. 13 times 13, there it is. Thank you. And see, it's like the second spiral or the third. I think you can break it all the way down to that little purple box. It's like within itself, within itself, within itself, you know? It's like layers and layers of the same thing. That's the way nature moves. You actually have that spiral on the top of your head. That ocean spiral.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
that's
got
how
a
you come
question.
through.
Women have
Yes.
13 menstrual cycle, right? Each year.
Well, not always, no, but there are 13 holes on a woman's body.
Oh, okay.
Because some women have a little more, some women have a little less, but there are actually 13 portals on a woman's body. Men do have those 12 portals. You count them from the head, and you even count the nipples because that's a portal for women that works. And then you count your umbilical cord because if you didn't have your mother feeding you through your umbilical cord, you wouldn't be alive for 9 months. And then you count, the anus and the urethra, and basically the woman has the vagina. That's the 13. So you count them all up, and it's 12 for men, and there's one more for women. I think Jewel Pookrum mentioned that one time because I learned that a long time ago. I was like, wait a minute, what? So then when I knew about Ophiuchus, she put two and two together with Scorpio being the sexual organs, and there's another sign down there, and it's the 13th one. What'd that sound like to you? The center of the galaxy, down by the Kundalini? Because if you know your anatomy, then you know what's what. So astrology is definitely about anatomy. The head, the Taurus, the neck, Gemini got the shoulders. It's all there. And a lot of this is in ancient Egypt, the all over the text, the ceilings, the wheel. It's a lot deeper than what we know. We have to admit that because a lot of the stuff has been lost in translation. So I do believe that it's within us to find the answers. And that's another reason why you have to be so healthy because you're not going to be able to unlock your DNA and you're not going to be able to receive the answers that are coming down through you if you aren't clear and you're too sick and sad because you're addicted to food and just snacking here in this life. Like my chart, it forces me to be like this. I don't want to be so healthy all the time, but my body be like, oh no, 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 no. Because I started doing raw when I was 19 when I found out mucus. And I started going vegan when I was 16, 17 when I started going sidereal. What's the odds of that? Yeah. So it's synonymous with my awakening was me going vegan. That's a whole nother layer of my story. So yeah, definitely how I live my life every day, just like with astrology. I have to eat right. So start by doing ginger tea. A lot of ginger tea, even if you just use the powdered ginger. But if you do even like scrape the ginger and grate the ginger, let it soak, and then boil it up and stuff, and really get that ginger in your body, it'll help you move stuff. It helps with pain. It helps with focus. It helps with like mucus and moving that stuff out of your body, getting that shit up out your body. Seriously. Do a lot of ginger tea and not the fake crystals and stuff like that. That's okay, but not really. It's a lot of sugar. Get the real tea bags, get the powder, or get the actual ginger, you know, um, peel it, grate it up, scrape it, shred it, put it in water and let it soak even that way, and then boil it up and drink it. Drink it every day. Try to get like to at least 2 or possibly 3 cups of ginger in your body. You're gonna feel like a new person in a month because it's a tonic. It's a whole body tonic. There's so many secrets to medicine, healing and stuff. So yeah, we have to dedicate our lives to learning the truth and the real medicine. We can't be caught up in these fake realities and this fake, medicine, you know.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
And thank you so much for having me, y'all. I do feel welcome. Otherwise, I wouldn't be, not rambling, but going on so long,
Oh
so
yeah,
deep,
you're
because
welcome.
obviously I feel welcome. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you being here. So before we close out, Elmore, start us off with closing thoughts.
Oh, did you want to? I didn't hear any. Did Joy, are you good, Joy?
Yeah, she's
Okay.
busy.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
I just want to say I learned a lot from the goddess today. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Looking
thank
forward
you.
to doing more shows with her and Ra. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
drop some more knowledge for the people, because the people need to know this and
Mm-hmm.
understand this. And in my conclusion, the 13 sign has always been associated, well, the number 13 always been associated with bad luck, but in actuality, it's really good luck and rare. And
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind doing this again. You know what I'm saying? I learned a lot today, and I'm grateful. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Femi. What's your closing thoughts? Go ahead.
Um, well, just definitely anybody, y'all, message me. You got my number on there. You got my link in the comments, and you got my Instagram. So message me, let me know what you thought about all this. And if you want to get a reading, I'll definitely honor the $100 or the $50 reading for either or, written and or the consultation. So I do phone consultations where I tell you about your chart. I help you through your chart, any questions you may have about your chart. Also, you can find my cookbooks on my link on my Instagram, where I'll send you the link. And just also be ready to get a class for me about what's happening with the economy, because I'm going to stay on top of the economy stuff, mainly how to work through and get ready for what's coming, because y'all, it's coming. I mean, you look at the news right now, seriously. Look at the news like right before the full moon, because the full moon was about 9 days ago, 10 days ago. And then look at the news now. So the full moon brought in the banks crashing and the bubble busting. It was a Leo moon. It was Sekhmet, and she came through like shining lights on every damn thing, blazing all kind of lies, because that's what she do, right? That's what she do. Okay, so she came through, and everything started blowing up in people's faces, and we can see that this country ain't based on shit but a whole bunch of monetary schemes and lies. Okay. So don't get caught up in the fall, in the crash, and fall down into deep, dark slavery. Like, we're going to have to learn how to get out of these things. Some people are so overworked, even at $100,000. That'll tell you what's happening here. They'll tell you some of us going to have to get the hell up out of this country. That's seriously happening. They're not going to be able to afford it and have a decent life. So they're moving to Colombia. They're moving to Mexico, even though it's got some weird stuff on it, the whole energy around Mexico right now. But a lot of Black people have moved to Playa del Carmen, Mexico City. What's that other one? I can't remember. Cabo. Okay, a lot of people out of the country. They're living in Belize. They're living in Costa Rica. That's another one. They're living in Panama. I have a raw guru teacher, Iris Latam. He's 75 years old soon, and he does raw retreats out in Panama. So I'm like, you know what? He would have me there and I could teach people and help because I'm a raw vegan chef. That's why I have the cookbooks and stuff. So I could be out there and just living my life in Panama on a 700-acre farm with coconuts. He only drinks coconut water. He don't drink regular water. He drinks coconut water. And he's 75 years old and he does fast and he teaches people and he lets people come do retreats and stuff. So anyways, I can go on and on, but what's happening is a lot of people are going to have to go find safe havens in natural, natural settings, natural, like they're going to have to get back to nature because of the transformation that's happening in the cities and our government and our work and our job and our money and all this stuff with Pluto. See what I mean? So it's almost inevitable for some of us to get the hell up out of here in the next couple of years as stuff starts crashing. So I've seen that more and more as a reality and as a good reality, as a great alternative to just even get out for a couple of years or months or whatever. But I've also seen that people are going to need to get those tech type jobs, basically start dealing with the devil on some level, whether it's the internet where we're like making money online together, like that's probably the most free way you can do it. But people are going to have to get those stay at home jobs that they can move around to different countries and stuff and have money. So there's that angle too. And some of my family is working with these different methods of, having the tech, learning the tech, we're going to have to get a lot more education in these things in order to survive if you want to stay here. Like it's coming down to that because a lot of these jobs that we're doing manually, first of all, you're being exposed to whatever viruses are happening if you're working in the streets. You're subjected to more possible harm or possible chaos that could happen. Okay. So you want to sometimes be protected at home or protected or like be able to travel. You can move around. What if there's a natural disaster happening in your town? You want to be able to move around. Look at that damn chemical spill that happened. If you lived in that town, you had some money, you can get the hell up out of town and go start somewhere else. But if you're, working at the cashier or whatever, you are jacked up. You don't have money to leave. You can't start over. You see what I'm saying? 1 + 1, all this stuff is adding up to you don't have no power to do what you need to do as everything changes. That's that Pluto shit, y'all. It's coming in. So our monetary system is basically just disintegrating like last year. It's going to happen even more again. And people are going to have to start really working with some different elements with money and with education when it comes to tech and education when it comes to survival, food and stuff like that, and transportation or housing, moving around. It's getting deep out here. It's that they do see they're doing it slowly, so you don't even notice. They're doing it one day, 1 week at a time. They roll out the plans and stuff. You know what I mean? Now we're talking about bailing out banks and shit. How about you bail out people? No, we're talking about war, bailing out all the people, sending all the money to war. And then bailing out the banks. So what do you think is happening to people that can't afford $3,000 rents? Right? Shit is insane. Shit is insane. So, if you got to get to another country or you got to move in together even, it's turning into people going to have to start doing some downsizing through all of this crazy stuff. I have a few teachers, so they keep me up on a few things, and we're going to have to make some hard decisions soon. Get creative and definitely get healthy because you can't even hear the answers if you're not healthy. Just be stuck. in the system, you know. Yeah, it's some crazy stuff about to happen with the Ukraine stuff and everything. I'm like, yeah,
Well, definitely
it's a
that
lot.
can.
I know. Hate to leave on such a intense note, but seriously, y'all, be proactive in this. The reason why I'm telling you what I see is because now you can go be proactive. You can get your businesses further along. You're supposed to be doing more of your business because, like Wall Street Trapper said,
Mhm.
if you give them the ability to
Well,
feed you, then you also give them the ability to starve you. So you have to learn how to feed yourself, create different businesses and stuff like that. It's okay to have a job. It's okay to have $100,000 job. I'm thinking about getting one too. But you need to know how to feed yourself as well. You need to have your stuff set up where you can make more money and do more things, you know? Or if you do leave the country, you can still make money online. You can still, trade Forex, trade stocks, have real estate. Like these are businesses. So you're gonna have to have your business, and you're gonna have to have your health together in order to get through these times without losing it all. That's kind of Capricorn, is all or nothing vibes as well. Hardship or triumph,
mhm.
business or slavery. These are the opposite sides of Capricorn. That's what this is turning into. Bank bailout. Well, people are poverty, crime, death, murder. How you gonna get out of the inner city if you don't have no money? You stuck. So it's so deep, So I want y'all to empower yourselves with that information. Okay. That's what I'm working on. Don't look at it as like, oh my God, I'm so afraid, Look at it as like, oh no, I'm about to, what I mean? Do it. I got this,
Mhm.
and don't be afraid to, promote your business, promote who you are, promote yourself, and network together. Cooperative economics. It's happening all over again. We're going to have to do it. A lot of people are like, going to be sad that they have to, give up things in order to survive. But that's what time it is.
Mhm.
Or work harder, or make more, or do better, or work smarter. However you have to do it. But it's those times where you have to take it to the next level.
Yeah,
Thank you
that.
so much, y'all. Yeah.
I appreciate you. Definitely. Thank you, everyone, for being here, listening to this
Yes.
information. Hopefully, you can sit
Hmm.
down with it. Take. Hopefully, you took notes, because if not, just watch the replay and make sure y'all definitely help see what is needed from all that you heard today. Do your research, and at the same time, relax. And we will see y'all next time, or next week as well. So until then, everyone, Anouk Ramatef Queb. I'm Ramatef Queb. You can find me on Facebook as Ramatef Queb. You can find me on Instagram as Ramatef_Queb. Also visit the website at myriot.org, the DNA of DNA. And for hopefully Ishram can come on, say her closing thoughts. And if not, Elmore, close us out.
Okay, it's your boy El Moore, the Universal Humanitarian. I had so much fun today kicking it with the God and the Goddesses. And we're going to leave you with love and peace. Peace.